Good evening and
Good evening.
welcome back to Witches and Midnight Margaritas. Here we are. So today, the very basics of basics in witchcraft is the moon. Not everybody works with the moon, but that's kind of what witches are known for.
Yeah.
Why? Why do we work with the moon? So we're just going to give you an overview of it, and maybe it'll answer some of your questions and things you can do. So the moon is important to us as everything in the sky is important to us. Everything that's out there in space is important to us.
Absolutely.
The zodiacs are actually just constellations in the sky. So these things are really important to us. And the reason the moon is because it orbits Earth, the planet that we happen to be on. We orbit the sun. All the other planets in our solar system go around the sun, but the moon only orbits us. So that's why. Back in ancient times, people thought it was a goddess or a god.
Yeah.
More of a goddess.
Yeah.
They thought the sun
Yeah.
was a god and the moon was a goddess.
Yeah.
But we know now it's just a rock floating around up there. But it does have energy and it does have a schedule. The moon orbits the Earth one complete cycle about every 27, 28 days. It's not a full month, right? So that's why the full moon isn't the same day every month. Yeah, and the big thing about that is that it does go through phases. Now, the moon is always there. It doesn't change. It is the exact same no matter where it is. It's just our view of it. And so when the moon is full, we can see it. And we can see it because, well, it doesn't light itself. The sun lights it up. But it's because the Earth isn't casting any shadows on it. So it's pure light coming from the sun to the moon to us, right? Pure energy. On the new moon, which is when you can't see it in the sky at all, that's when the Earth is casting 100% shadow on it. It's still there.
Yeah, it doesn't go away.
It doesn't go away. It's just that it's shadowed by the Earth. Like the Earth is between the sun and the moon. And so you might hear phrases like waxing moon or waning moon. And there are actually 8 different phases to the moon, but we usually only go with 4. Like we'll just say full moon, new moon, waxing, and waning. And what a waxing moon is it's the time between the new moon and the full moon when it appears to be getting bigger. The shadow is moving and it's going from a new moon to a full moon. Waxing, getting bigger by our view. And a waning moon is just the opposite. It's the time between the full moon to the waning moon. So the shadow is starting to cover it. So it's going from full to not full.
Yeah.
It's pretty easy.
It's pretty basic stuff. Right?
Pretty basic, and it's scientific. These are just facts. And so what does the moon do to us, though? We all know that the moon itself is responsible for moving the tides of the ocean. It's actually the moon and the sun are responsible for that, but the moon's more so. The sun only does it about half power with that. They work in conjunction, but for all intents and purposes, the moon moves the tides. Okay, well that's great. What's the tides? It's water. And seeing as how we're 60%-ish water, it affects us too.
Yeah.
You'll hear people talk about, like nurses in an emergency room, how crazy things get on a full moon. You know, teachers will talk about it in school. Retail workers talk about it.
Yeah.
Things get crazy on the full moon because it affects people. Whether you want to think it does or not, if you've worked some of these jobs,
It does.
It does.
It absolutely does.
It does,
Yeah.
right? The celestial bodies in our solar system affect us. They just do. So the moon affects a lot of things. It affects migratory birds. It affects different animals, you know, that they know it's time to mate, they know it's time to eat, or whatever. It's actually a very important celestial body. So for us, got to get on my notes here. For us, when we're looking at doing spellcraft, and it's stuff, not necessarily emergency, because you know sometimes you have an emergency spell,
Yeah,
and it
yeah.
doesn't matter what time. It's like, I gotta fucking do
I
this
gotta
tonight.
do this now.
Yeah. But when you're doing different kinds of spells, it's always good to look at the moon phases for extra energy.
Yeah.
So a full moon, what would you do on a full moon?
Anything.
Anything.
Anything you want.
Yeah. It's a powerful time.
Yeah.
And they say that it's as powerful 3 days before and 3 days after.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. And you can look online. You can just like Google on your phone moon phases 2024 or whatever, and then you'll find your next full moon and see where you are and when it's best to view it. It's fantastic because that'll give you a heads up. Technology is great. We might as well use it in the craft, honestly.
Absolutely.
Honestly.
Absolutely.
So
yeah, it's really for a 7-day period that you can use that full moon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. and on a full moon, people put out water to charge.
Yeah.
So people believe in moon water being charged. It's just water being charged by the moon. Now it's moon water. Same with crystals. You'll hear a lot of people talk about putting their crystals out in the full moon in the window or, where they can get some moonlight. And it works even if it's cloudy, right? So the full moon is a big deal.
It is
It's a big deal.
It's a big deal.
Yeah, you can even dance naked in the moonlight if you want to.
Absolutely.
Get all sky
That's
cloud.
the time to do it.
That's if you're gonna make your neighbors talk. It's the full moon.
That's the time.
Oh yeah. So then, the new moon, which is when it's dark to us, we don't see it. What would you do? New moon spells.
New stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything new.
Anything new beginnings. I would say your baneful stuff would be really good
You
too.
can do that too. Yeah.
Yeah, because
Because
darkness.
it's darkness. Right?
Yeah.
But yeah,
You can do anything anytime you want, guys.
you can.
We're just telling you about how the moon can help you. So when the moon is waxing, so when it's going from new moon to full moon, it's getting bigger. That would be the time to set in motion things for increase, like money, jobs, anything that you want to gain would be a good time because the moon is gaining in our view, right?
Yeah.
It's gaining. And then opposite that, the waning moon from full moon to new moon would be time that you want to do spells to get rid of things.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
if you want to get rid of bad habits, like quit smoking, quit boyfriends, I don't know, but whatever
the
bad
case
habits
may
you
be.
have. Yeah, that's the best time to do that. On top of that, there's also the blue moon. And you'll hear, I think it's a phrase, once in a blue moon.
Yeah, it is. It is a phrase. But there is a blue moon.
There is a blue moon, and it happens probably once every 3 to 5 years.
About every 4 years, I
Is
think.
it? Yeah. Good averages. And all a blue moon is the second full moon in a calendar month.
Yeah.
So did blue moons matter before there was calendars? No, because there was no calendars to tell us this is the second one in a month.
Right.
But there are 13 full moons in a year, right?
Yeah,
So
yes.
that's that. So that's all a blue moon is so if you look online or on an app or calendar or whatever and you see a full moon on the first or second, you're probably going to get a blue moon later. And some people think those are super powerful.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'll see that online.
A lot of people actually.
Yep. Yep. A blood moon would be just a lunar eclipse, actually,
Yeah.
and it usually makes the moon appear like it's red.
Yeah.
That's all that is. And then a black moon would be your second new moon in a month. And that would be, same as full moon. If you see a new moon on the calendar for the first or second, you're probably going to get a second one. So it'd be a black moon. And those are really good too
They are.
for your dark stuff and whatever.
Yeah.
Cultures all around the world actually have named the moons depending on their culture. So indigenous people have named their
own
moons.
names.
Yep.
Yeah.
Irish,
Yeah.
Gaelic, and it's actually fascinating because it's from where they're from and their traditions, and it's always good to get into that and take a peek at that because we're in Canada. We have a lot of indigenous people here, and I just love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, me too.
So with the 13 moons that there's only 12 months in a year, right? And you'll see, the January moon is the wolf moon or whatever it is. The 13th moon is always the harvest moon.
Yeah.
And the harvest moon will always be the full moon that is closest to the autumn equinox. which is September 21st, 22nd, around in there. And that the equinox, of course, is when you have equal daylight and nighttime, right? Because the days get shorter and yada, yada, yada.
Yeah.
So the full moon closest to the autumn equinox is going to be your harvest moon.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's the moon stuff.
Yeah.
There are some people actually do a lot of moon work.
They do.
And they worship the moon. I've heard of that.
Yeah.
And that's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool.
There's nothing wrong with that.
No, you can do whatever you want.
The moon's awesome.
Yeah, and it is a powerful celestial body, you guys. Like, there's a lot of stuff floating out in space, and you got to think when people started having like the pagan beliefs, and which predate religion, anyways.
Yeah.
This is what they had. You know what I mean? So I think it's actually just fascinating.
It is
with the gods and goddesses and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But it is. It's
pagan is really old.
Oh, very old.
Very old.
Very old. Yeah. Pagans. What are you gonna do? But yeah, I would suggest if you're just new to the craft or just getting back into it, get online, and all you have to do is Google full moon schedule 2024.
Yeah.
And that'll pull up all you'll find that moon phases timeanddate.com is a really good one. Moon phases is a good one. And it'll tell you the full moons and every moon phase in between. And what I like to do, because I have a calendar in my room I set up every month, and I'll be like, okay, I'll go to that and I'll write down the full moon here, circle it, and whatever, right? Because it's how I live my life. I got to know when these things are happening, because we just had a full moon the other day.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and I would get to know the moon a little bit and see if that's something that you want to believe in, right? A lot of it is not scientific. They do move the waves.
They do.
They do.
That's proven.
Yeah, it's very pseudoscience sounding if it affects humans, but my belief is it does, because I've worked in shitty jobs and seen shitty people on the full moon.
Yeah.
But also, we are made of water. Like it does make sense that things are
we would also be affected because we are there is so much water in our system, and it does move the tides. So I'm sure that it does affect us as well.
Yeah, but you'll find as you're journeying through the witchcraft pathway, I suppose, the moon is actually really, really important to a lot of cultures or belief systems. Like it's a very eclectic thing. People can just do whatever they want, which is really great, right? But it'd be something worth getting to know.
Oh, for sure.
Getting to know, and how you can work with it, and if that is something you want to explore.
Absolutely.
I'm very much about the moon.
Me too.
I am very much about the moon. I'm not so much on it's a goddess, and I used to. I used to.
Not that so much. Just working with it.
Yeah.
When we're doing spells or whatever, we do work with it on those occasions.
We do make our moon water and get their few crystals out there. So
yeah, we do.
Yep. Anyways, guys, that's all we got for you tonight. Beltane's coming.
Beltane's coming.
We're gonna do a video on that soon.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah, we're gonna do a video on all the witches' holidays. Maybe next. I don't know.
We'll see.
We actually do have a plan. Never mind.
Anyways, but we are going to, yes.
We are. There's lots to know. Anyways, thank you so much for joining us.
Enjoy your evening and
stay magical.